Time for twins part. Yeah. It just needs to expose, because Kamala's supposed to be the border czar. And it shows why they didn't do anything for the border.
Yeah.
They got their hand in it. And it's like, it just exposes so much corruption from our own government. We're trafficking kids, we're funding it. It's almost unbelievable.
It's beyond anything anybody can imagine. I mean, I think that people will be inspired at the end of this movie to step up. I just met with a few Border Patrol agents this last few days, and I got another guy to come forward. Aaron Vecchi is his name. He's in Ajo, Arizona. Very brave men out there, and I believe there's going to be dozens of them coming forward when this movie comes out. We just got to have their backs. We got to figure out a way to support them.
Exactly. Why do you think they're doing this to our country? What's the end game here?
That's a good question.
I mean,
what do you think?
I think it's voters, and I think it's tax dollars, because they have an agenda for us that we don't know about. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about all the money that's going to these government or non-governmental organizations. They're giving these people tens of thousands of our tax dollars to live
cars
and to eat, cars, housing. Yeah. I mean, I don't think the American taxpayer really realize how the government's funding all of this.
Yeah.
Because they've never done anything like this for their own citizens. We have like veterans that need help. We have homeless people. We don't even treat our own citizens this well.
Feels like we're being replaced.
Well, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when you have $1 billion entity and you have lobbyists inside that entity lobbying whoever the people are there in the government to keep giving the contracts, that's how the skids are greased there.
Right.
And the homeless guy doesn't have a lobbyist. The people don't have a voice. So that's what happens when you have money and power. And when these NGOs, non-government organizations, or nonprofits, what happens is you start with a mission. You start with a purpose. Let's help house these children. But when you get bigger, your purpose is just to exist and to keep funding the organization and to make sure everyone has their $500,000 salaries.
Right.
That is the reason why you exist.
Right.
It eventually becomes a racket.
Right.
So it starts out as a cause, and it eventually becomes a racket. Catholic Church. Oh, yeah, we're Catholic. We believe in God. We believe in Christ. We believe in the Christian mission. And eventually it's, we need the money from the government to keep lining our pockets.
Right.
That's just what happens.
Right.
So, and I think that's, is that human nature? I think so. Power doesn't always corrupt. It tends to. Yeah. So you had to be real vigilant with the leadership of these entities. I mean, look at me. I mean, look at that. James O'Keefe, fired from the organization that I founded.
Right.
So, well, that's kind of mind-blowing, because if it can happen to me, then nobody's safe.
If it can happen to you, if it happens to Tucker, he was the face of Fox.
The face?
Yeah, when you think of Fox, Project Veritas, we think of you guys.
I mean, Tucker was the highest-rated show on Fox.
Yes.
So, and maybe too, it's also that the more effective you are, the more over the target you are, the more of a liability it becomes.
Yeah.
In other words, the moment of greatest success carries the greatest risk. The moment of greatest achievement carries the greatest risks for you. Because in this business and this investigative journalism stuff, the more effective you are, the worse it is for me.
Right.
It's not like you give you a pat on the back. They give you a battering ram and guns and shoot at you and jail you.
Yeah, when when you do a good job, you go to jail.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So the incentive becomes, don't do a good job. Or maybe just be a little effective, not too much. You don't want to like really expose them, because you're talking about child trafficking here. If I'm effective at my mission in stopping the child traffickers, then my life is in danger.
Right.
I mean, it makes me think, has that ever been the goal when it comes to journalism in this country? Has the goal ever been like what you're doing? I don't think it's ever been the goal.
I think, that's a really good question. I think that you have to go back to like before I was born, like 60 Minutes maybe. I don't know if you remember, like way long ago, they used to do the hidden cammers.
Right.
But I think,
what was the name? Jim Hansen?
Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
60 Minutes. He's now dead, but they had like muckrakers in the 70s and 80s and early 90s. But the problem that I've seen is the economics of journalism. There is no money in journalism. So the moment you leave your studio and go out in the field and do the work, it's expensive. And then you get sued. And the lawyers cost $500 an hour. So let's say you do everything right. You still have to pay the lawyers $500 an hour, and then you win. So now it's cost you, I don't know, $1 million in legal fees. And your boss is going to go, no, I'm not going to spend $1 million in legal fees on one story. There's no amount of advertising revenue that you can generate off of one story to make that $1 million worth it. Simple math. So it was decided, I would say it probably ended in the 80s and 90s, that people said, we're not going to do this stuff anymore. You got to be insane. Now, there's been a little rebirth of it right now. Crowder's doing it. Project Veritas did it. You got a couple groups doing it. But the challenge is going to be for anybody who does this is you have to deal with the liabilities, and you have to have a philanthropic heart, in that all your profits have got to go back into paying attorneys and you know, the cost of making you're not going to become wealthy off of this. I don't think anybody will become wealthy off of this.
So you got to do it out of the goodness of your heart.
You have to have a good heart, which is something that Elon Musk says when he hires people. But I underestimated the importance of, you got to be talented and brave, but you have to have a good heart, and support these guys when they get prosecuted and fired from their companies. You got to have their backs. That's the #1 rule. And we'll see what happens. The film ends on a very uplifting call to action, in that it asks the public, okay, now it's up to you. You're going to be inspired. Okay, what are you guys going to do about it?
You pass the burden on to them.
Have to. You can't carry all the weight alone.
You're tired of carrying all this shit. I'm tired of going to jail by myself. So you says it's so tough doing that. What the hell made you want to do this? He's got a big heart.
So I think that I'm more like artistically motivated. Like I love telling stories, and what gets me going is like making this film. I spent 5 months in a production room putting it all together, and I love seeing it come together. I love being able to show people in a different way. Like even my security guard, when he watched, he's like, wow. We have 7 foreign languages: Turkish, Mandarin, Spanish, Mexican slang. And we got a 600mm lens on the cartel's face. You know, we got a boom mic over here. The way that I'm able to tell the story, it gives me satisfaction being able to piece all that together. That's what gets me off. That's what gets me going. That's what I'm motivated by. Some people motivated more politics. Some people motivated by helping children. I'm motivated by telling a story no one's ever told before. That's what always motivated me since I started this when I was 19.
Hey, y'all, time is running out, and Election Day is almost here. Make sure you and everyone you know is registered to vote. Yeah, and do me a favor, make sure you actually vote this time. Yeah, get out and vote. Yeah, we need all hands on deck for this. And the fake news is going to try to mislead us with fake polls and stuff. Yeah. But if y'all want an objective look at who's winning this race, which is constantly being updated in real time by the odds makers, y'all need to go to mybookie.ag. Yeah, MyBookie is the best place to bet on all kinds of things: sports, fighting, racing, even politics. MyBookie gives you all the best information, stats and all, so you can make smart bets, so you can actually win some cash. I haven't made a few bucks on UFC the week on MyBookie. Yeah. Maybe y'all can get lucky too. Yeah, you was lucky. I was really lucky. Because of MyBookie. Yeah. Because you suck. Go to mybookie.ag right now, and if you sign up and use code TWINS, you can get double on your first deposit. Double the first deposit? Get double on your first deposit. Yeah.